students, we continue talking about the theories, English language teaching theories or learning theories. We repeat most of them, but it's a kind of having like a very comprehensive understanding of those theories. So social interactionist or constructivist theory. If you look at the diagram here, you can see it has to be with teachers provide that kind of scaffolding and the motivation for the students, and they think of the social interaction that they think. So this theory based mainly on the social interaction among people and among the students either in your daily life or among your peers. And then it based mainly depends only on your prior knowledge. You build the process of learning on what you already know, your prior knowledge, and then it's a kind of active learning that has to be with scaffolding and the motivation that is being provided by the teacher to elevate the level of your understanding and being aware and highly motivated towards the learning process itself. So in general, constructivism is a learning theory which holds that learners actively construct knowledge, they build it rather than receive it passively. And learning occurs when the students connect new information with their prior knowledge, what they already know, engage in active learning tasks where there is some sort of social interaction, and active learning. Learn through social interaction and then receive scaffolding from their teachers or peers. In ELT, constructivism emphasizes learner-centered classrooms, meaningful communication, problem solving, and collaboration. Teacher as a facilitator, not a transmitter of knowledge. The key elements of constructivism in ELT: active learning, and prior knowledge. With an example, active learning, a very living example of this is students discover grammar rules by analyzing examples instead of learning to prolong explanation. Prior knowledge, learners bring existing knowledge, experience, and language awareness into the classroom. New learning builds on what they already know. A very living example of this is, before teaching a reading text, for example, about travel, the teacher asks students about their own travel experience. Scaffolding refers to temporary support provided by the teacher to peers or to help learners perform tasks they cannot do alone. Support is gradually removed as learners become more independent. And a very living example of this is, the teacher provides sentence starters at first, then removes them as students gain confidence. So it's kind of scaffolding, helping them to give the student that kind of support in order to get them confidence, and then they can start learning easily and effectively. So these are some before the activities we have the summary of this. Active learning means a learning through collaboration. Prior knowledge, temporary instructional support. Scaffolding, using existing experiences. Calmat the concept with its description. Social interaction, the learner participation and discovery. Do this activity. Do activity 2. Activity 3. You have tasks and activities. All these activities you need to do them after all these are activities about. Now we come to humanistic or effective theory. It has to do with human beings and how they interact among what is around them, whether objects, the people around them, or thought and ideas that they think about, the image that they create about them, something, and their behavior. So it's between the individual self and the environment around. So this is how this theory is based, mainly on this. Why I call it affective theory or humanistic theory, which has to do with the individual and the interaction and what is in the environment around the learner. So it focuses on emotion, motivation, and self-esteem in learning. Stephen Krashen's affective filter hypothesis. Anxiety, for example, lack of motivation or low confidence can block language acquisition. If there is any in the environment around, either from the people or the objects or whatever that you have around, they might block the learning, the language acquisition or the language learning itself. Classroom implications create a positive, low anxiety environment, encourage self-expression and creativity, use games, songs or role plays so that this will help the learners, and then we have these activities. You need to do them, all these activities. So this is the end of unit. This is assessment of the whole unit. Unit even to go through it. In unit 4 again, it's a kind of like a repetition. Traditional and modern methods in ELT, the method that teaches you inside the classroom, either modern or traditional. ELT methods can be categorized broadly into traditional method, which is teacher-centered, focused on grammar, translation, and accuracy. Modern method, learner-centered, communication, focused, and skill-oriented. If you look at this, you can hold the comparison between traditional methods and modern method, and you see that you can have like an emergence of the two, so that you can get your own eclectic method or style in your classroom. So all these are the methods, teaching methods: grammar translation method, direct method, audiolingual method, communicative language teaching method, task-based language teaching method, content and language integrated learning. These are 5 or 6 teaching methods. We'll come through them one by one. Now we come to number 1. Grammar translation method, a method of foreign or second language teaching which makes use of translation and grammar study at the main teaching and learning activities. Its focus is on reading and writing grammar rules and translation between mother tongue and target language. Vocabulary and grammar are learned explicitly. Speaking and listening are largely neglected. So it focuses mainly on reading and writing, grammar and translation. In the classroom application, teacher-centered, often lecture style. Heavy use of translation exercises and memorization. What are the strengths of this method? Develops reading comprehension suitable for exam-oriented context. The limitation: little communicative ability, may demotivate learners due to lack of interaction. These are some activities about grammar translation method. You need to do these activities, All these are about grammar translation method. All these are about grammar translation method. So you need to do these activities as assignments, All these are about grammar translation, grammar GTM. All these are about grammar translation method, Now the second method is direct method. Direct method is named direct because meaning should be connected directly with the target language without translation into the mother tongue or native language. Concept meaning, target language. Concept, target language. Use only native language. So the direct method is a language teaching method that emphasizes direct exposure to the target language without using the learner's mother tongue, without translation. Language is learned in a way similar to first language acquisition through listening, speaking, and interaction. The key characteristics of this method are target language only, no translation, focus on speaking or listening, unlike reading and writing for the grammar translation method. Grammar taught inductively, not inductively. Vocabulary taught through real objects, pictures, and actions. Emphasis on correct pronunciation, teacher as a model and facilitator. Principles of the direct method: target language use, oral communication, inductive grammar, meaningful context, immediate correction. And then you need to do these activities about grammar, about direct method, about about direct method. All these activities are direct method, are about direct method, you know. All these activities are about direct method. All these activities are about direct method. Now number 3, audio-lingual method. Lecturer, this is audio-lingual. What is it? A method of foreign language teaching which emphasizes the teaching or listening and speaking before reading and writing. It uses dialogues as the main form of language presentation and drills as the main training techniques. So the audiolingual method is based on behaviorist learning theory and structural linguistics. It views language learning as a process of habit formation, achieved through repetition, drill, and reinforcement. So in audiolingual method, listening and speaking before reading and writing, language is learned through dialogues, grammar is taught implicitly, not explained, errors are immediately corrected, the mother tongue is avoided. Nearly like direct method. In what are the key principles of audiolingual method? Habit formation, stimulus response, reinforcement, dialogue memorization, pattern drills, and then you need to do all these activities. You need to do all these activities. There are only 3 methods with their activities. There are full of activities. You need to do these activities. You need to do all these activities. They are all about grammar. Audiolingual method. Okay, we stop here. Next time that we come to complete the rest of the teaching methodologies. Communicative language teaching, this will come to it next time, inshallah. Thank you very much and see you next lecture, dear students.